All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
All the best, guys.
When talking about building engagement and excitement through virtual experiences, the finest platform out there, Virtual Console, offers an unmatched solution. A do-it-for-you platform, Virtual Console offers an end-to-end tech solution that enables our clients to create personalized and custom events in just 48 hours. While the platform remains easy to use and navigate, assistance and support is available at every step to create a seamless experience. Not only is the platform scalable, varying participant sizes, it has proven to be cost-efficient. Let's explore the various features that Virtual Console has to offer. The attendees log in using an email ID or mobile number and enter the lobby area, which has event and partner branding, along with various speaker profiles and agenda for the event. Public and one-on-one chat functionalities, along with breakout rooms, enable attendee interaction. Attendees then proceed to the auditorium, where all the action lies. And the Expo Center offers partners their booths with networking and lead generation opportunities. Attendees can see glimpses of the event in the gallery. Virtual Console offers in-depth event analytics to ascertain and track the attendee touchpoints, time spent across various functions, and beyond. Let us have a look at something Virtual Console recently put together for one of our clients with over 3,000 attendees. A creative, captivating, customized, and cost-efficient solution by Virtual Console that meets the purpose and delivers beyond expectations. With the changing times and trends, it's time to bet big on virtual events and experiences. Trust us to be the virtual event solution specialist you need. Virtual Console, here to deliver. Book your demo with us at Virtual Console.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone for today's session on distribution changes for the hospitality industry after the pandemic and how. My name is Neha Ginoria and I head up marketing for Max Rate Tiger. I feel privileged to be moderating today's session and be in company of such esteemed panel. I'm stepping in for my friend Vinicius Geraldo, the founder of Travel Tech, who has done a commendable job creating this massive educational event series. The Travel Tech series of conference was launched last year by Vinicius, also founder and CEO of HS Latam. The aim of Travel Tech is to assist and guide hotels on how to adjust their operations to regain profitability no matter how the COVID-19 pandemic affects demand. The Travel Tech series brings together hotels, OTAs, hospitality, and travel tech companies to learn about operational tools and obtain actionable insights on how to leverage recent innovations to speed up the travel recovery process worldwide. It is one of the biggest online events and completely independent. We want to thank all our sponsors for their support, for joining in and participating in these discussions and sharing their knowledge. Today, we have with us a very august panel of speakers. I would quickly just introduce them, and then I will pass over, the floor to them to go ahead and introduce themselves and their company again. So here we have with us today Mr. Frank Trampert, SVP and Managing Director, Sabre. Ivan Cintado, Director, APAC, the Hotels Network. Mohnish Singh, Global Sales Director for Enterprise Accounts at Max. Soraia Letra, Chief Business Development Officer at Yield Planet. And Kris, Glabinski, President, How's My Rate. Welcome, everyone, and so pleased to have you with me here. With this, I would now like to quickly pass on to each one of you to take a couple of minutes, introduce yourself and your companies, and then we'll move on to the next part. So starting with you, Frank, go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Nia. Much appreciated. I'll get right into it. So firstly, I want to pick up from yesterday, and want to sort of quickly summarize, what Sabre is all about, and what are we focusing on. And it's really the solutions that sort of span across the entire travel landscape. Retailing, distribution, and fulfillment. And I think there's sometimes a bit of a misconception who are our partners, who we work with, and that's from all the way to the top to the enterprise businesses like Wyndham, Louvre, and Marriott, to the mid-market segment and economy class hotels like Jury Inns and Red Roof, for example. We cater to luxury, Four Seasons, Peninsula, Shangri-La, Langham, just to name a few. And we're also heavily invested into the leisure segment as well. We're not only a corporate technology solution provider, and we work with the likes of Barceló, NH, Minor, and Playa. We recently signed a mega agreement with TUI as well. And, we work with representation companies like Preferred, leading hotels, more luxury hotels, and we're involved with tech partners like Navarino, Hotel Rest, Luxury Rest, just to name a few, sort of a spectrum around the world who use our technology solutions as to cater to the independents. And then we have many independents signed up directly. So when we speak about the recovery, it continues to be affected everybody, and us included. But there's also plenty of room and cause for optimism. The pent-up demand that we see for travel is clearly to see. We've seen it popping up any time and anywhere around the world, and every time restrictions are lifted, we see booking surge. And the traveler confidence, right, is really returning very, very strongly. A recent Deloitte study has very clearly indicated that a third of consumers said they plan to stay in a hotel within the next 3 months. And as we see the global vaccine rollout to be more manifested and more mature and more growing, you see that confidence even returning more. We've seen a difference in patterns of booking, and we see a return to longer term booking for sure. And we have seen, especially in the last quarter, bookings surging above 2019 levels. And when I put a comparison in here, so rather than carefully planned trips, travelers would go on last minute trips, spur of the moment kind of trips. And we see now that behavior reversing. We're seeing ultra short bookings decline month over month, with longer term booking windows increasing at the same time. And that's a point where we see a confidence in booking definitely returning. So as hoteliers, how do you prepare for such a thing? It's really about thinking that the three mega influences that make you and have to rethink your business. One is deglobalization with border restrictions continuously opening and closing. You need to be very nimble and effective in adjusting your business model. We see what we call demand dislocation, where hotels have to appeal to a completely new segment, especially when you think about the domestic traveler. And then, of course, we think about this issue of market evolution that's purely driven by the retailing industry, because we all have been spoiled by getting groceries to our home or have incredible recommendations given on Amazon, Lazada, anywhere you purchase. And this online environment is now swapping over into the hotel industry, driving expectations up. There is definitely an expectation that hoteliers respond better to this ever increasing demand of personalization. So we at Sabre like to think about this in the context of intelligent retailing, right? So, and what do we mean by that is we want hoteliers to really rethink how they should approach guests, or what is actually sellable or can be e-commerced. And it's not only the room, it's much more than that. And we want to help hoteliers to understand, to move away from attribute-based selling to a much more holistic retailing model that requires totally a fundamental change in the way how hoteliers think about the approach and the business, right? So the retailing revolution is really fundamentally embedded in a lot of research that we're also doing. And a recent Sabre survey very clearly identified that 53% would pay more if they could book all components or parts of the components in a trip, right? So this notion around ancillary revenues, which was manifested in the airline industry, really comes up more and more and more and swaps over into the hospitality space. 100 billion of ancillary revenues have been unlocked in the airline industry, and I think that's a great example for us to take note of. The personalization needs that you will see here are very difficult to achieve in a fragmented market environment. And we have today in technology in hotels a high level of fragmentation, multiple solutions, some are not connected. And that's why a platform approach like the Synexus platform is giving you the alternatives to plug and play. You bring one product over, you bring one element over, you do that over time. You can have your existing, run your existing systems because of the API environment that we have. We're holistically integrated. And I think hotels need to really start to fundamentally rethinking that approach. And then lastly, you can't win without partners. You have to think about the ecosystem in a much more holistic way and fashion. And that's why we're betting on Google. We've signed a fantastic agreement with Google. It's threefold, right? So it's firstly, we're cloud transforming our business, and we're moving all of our tech into the cloud to be one globally distributable, but to also be very closely married and related to that travel and search and e-commerce environment. And we'll learn from the best, right? I mean, Google is the company when it comes down to artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we're developing and have developed with them what we call the Sabre Travel AI. And that's a fundamental technology that we're utilizing, in which we then build products upon. And the first one that we just released was our intelligent retailing engine. So for the airline industry. So in summary, there is plenty of reasons, right, to be optimistic, plenty. Even amid the pandemic, we now have a return of traveler confidence, and that's combined with, incredible innovation. And that means a really bright future for the business, for the travel industry, and also for us. I mean, the side effects of having cleaner rooms, who doesn't like that, right? I mean, there's lots of good, positive news. And that would be sort of my quick summary and synopsis based on where I left off yesterday. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Frank. I was actually starting to wonder if we already got into the discussion mode, but I do understand where you're coming from after your pitch session last week. Yesterday. So
3 minutes 45.
So I will dive into the questions, of course. But before that, I'll just give the chance to my other panelists here to quickly introduce themselves and their companies briefly. And then, of course, we get into discussion mode. So I would like to now invite Ivan. Ivan, please be welcome and kindly introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself and a little bit about your company. And then we, of course, move to the next speaker.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for organizing the session. My name is Cintado. I'm director for APAC at the Hotels Network. Today, I'm connecting from Spain, so it's 4:10 in the morning. So beware that I might go on the sites every now and then. Coffee is starting to kick in. But normally, I'm based in Bangkok. The Hotels Network is a company, which is a tech company, which deploys solutions to drive growth to your direct channel. So we focus pretty much on anything that happens between the first click that lands to the website to the last click that happens, hopefully, at the confirmation page at the booking engine. We integrate with more than 200 booking engines. And what we do is to create a tech ecosystem which allows hotels to, first of all, identify what are the patterns of behavior, which is launched Bench Direct, which is a benchmark platform that looks at your direct channel in a whole completely different way than than traditional benchmarking solutions. And then how to take action on that. So react in real time to those users based on wherever they're connecting from. So to differentiate between domestic and international travel, to react in real time to the dates of search in which they're searching for, enhancing those platforms to be able to give a personalized experience. At the end of the day, to try and answer those questions that any purchaser needs before finalizing a booking, in order to see that, highlight that this is a good property, that it has the right values for the user, so it offers the right product for them, and it is making the site the right one to make the purchase. So all in all, it's a set of solutions which interact with the user experience in order to drive greater conversion in the direct channel.
Thank you so much, Ivan. That was lovely. Great to know about the connections. And of course, we'll be speaking more about it in the discussion phase. Next up is my colleague, Mohnish Singh, who's Global Sales Director for Enterprise Accounts at Max Rate Tiger. Mohnish, please introduce yourself and also a little bit about the company, please.
Thank you, Neha. Very good morning to everyone here. Thank you, Ivan. Your hotel networks, the Bench Direct is a really cool thing. My name is Mohnish Singh. I've been in this industry for the last 15 years now, and working with hotels. I've been to the other side now, to the other tech side of the world. Max, it's a name which many hoteliers knows. Like, we started our journey back in 2001. And it's almost a 2 decade now, and we are growing. We started back as a channel manager and a rate shopping company, and now we work with more than 10,000 hotels worldwide, and still innovating. So I'm looking forward to have we work with channel management, booking engine, rate shopping, now GDS connectivity too. So there are lots of offering now which we have, and I'm really looking forward to this discussion. And over to you, Neha.
Thank you so much, Mohnish. Welcome on the panel. I would now like to invite Soraia from Eel Planet. Soraia, please give us an introduction for yourself and the company.
Hi, Neha. Hi, everyone. Hi, my colleagues here. Hi, the audience. First of all, I would like to thank Vinicius, who's not here today, but the whole Travel Tech organization for having invited us. We're very proud to be for the consecutive year at Travel Tech APAC and for being one of the sponsors. My name is Soraia, Soraia Letra. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at Eel Planet. And for those that don't know Eel Planet, we are a specialized hotel technology provider. We're mostly known for being a channel manager provider, but we are also a revenue management system provider. And from our offices in Barcelona, in Lucerne, and in Warsaw, we are serving more than 4,500 clients, which translates in more than 15,000 properties worldwide, to be more specific, in around 80 countries, including in the Indian subcontinent and in Southeastern Asia. Our motto is to optimize hotel revenue, and simply, and we do it very simply as well. So as said previously, we have a channel manager, which is currently connected to over 500 channels. Actually, the topic today is distribution, so I think we will be touching that point very, very shortly. And those channels include, a wide range of channels, being them PMSs, booking engines, OTAs, tour operators, and so on and so forth. And we also have a revenue management system that supports the full revenue management cycle. And because I don't have the talent that Frank has to say so many interesting things in 3 minutes 45, I'll stop here with my intro. Thank you.
Thank you, Soraia. So pleased to have you here. And yes, we will be talking a lot about distribution and demand sources and the variety of channels. So of course, looking forward to that as well. My final speaker today here is Kris. Kris, please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how's my rate.
Thank you very much, Neha. Thank you, Vinicius, for the opportunity to be here. My name is Kris Glabinski. I have been around for many, many years. I think longer, Mohnish, than you have. I come from the airline and hotel industry. Revenue management is my background. I went from global companies through startup tech companies to now being a so-called old sea dog who is trying to make a difference. Today, I'm the president of a company that aspires to be meaningful to many properties that are around the world. We have started howsmyrate.com as a project last year during COVID, as a solution to those in the industry who need really affordable and accessible price information. However, understanding the market well, we knew that there's a lot of players and the good technologies out there already in the field. So we did not want to really be in the challenge with them. Instead, we challenged something else. We challenged the meaning of a word cheap. So today, I think howsmyrate.com is the most affordable price shopper around, which, believe me, is not as easy to be, because most affordable means cheapest, and cheapest means no good. So we went a long way towards convenience, easiness, and ability to customize our pricing visualizations to prove that cheap can also be good and also cool, and that it can fit many properties that would never been able to access price information before COVID.
Wow, thank you so much, Kris. I'm really glad and happy that I am attached and in some way involved with travel tech, because last few days the number of companies that I've seen, and especially the ones that have started either last year, especially last year in the middle of the pandemic, it's really, really inspiring to see all the innovation and all that is happening around. So really welcome all of you on this panel. Thank you for joining us. I would also now like to quickly welcome all our attendees and viewers who are watching the session live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Please use the chat or the comment box to ask any questions you might have. We will take the questions towards the end of the discussion and try to address all of them. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll quickly get started now. We have one round of questions that we will be asking the speakers here, and then we'll move on to the questions. So starting the discussion here with Frank from Sabre. So Frank, I think you already touched upon bits and pieces about how last year and this year, of course, has been for the industry and how things have changed. So I would like to ask you the events of 2020 and 21 changed the technological landscape for the industry, right? So according to you, which of these changes are here to stay? Can you share your thoughts on that, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, firstly, I will say that the the industry has been lagging in really transforming and adopting new and innovative ways to go about the business, right? Hoteliers have seen and looked at themselves as accommodation providers, but not as necessarily provider of services at a destination, or have thought sort of beyond the room itself. And I think that's a change that's coming down with a vengeance. I do believe that hoteliers need to completely reinvent themselves in the way how they think about their product offering, right? It's like we encourage hoteliers to think like a retailer. There's lots of stuff that happens on premise only or on property only that customers today have very limited access to. And if you can think about the retailing environment, if that is consumable prior to the arrival, that would open up a huge amount of revenue opportunities. And that's where we believe the investment needs to be. And the kind of mind shift in terms of thinking how to position yourself, how to engage with that customer, and it's at the end of the day, the day to understand the personas behind the purchasing behaviors, right? So why were they looking at different places? How do they look at it, and what can you do to provide that perfect offer? Given the understanding that you have about the way how they shop. So what is here to stay is great hotels with exceptional service, and the technology is being introduced to help hoteliers to remove themselves from the worries of back-end tech, and then put the customer at the center of what it really is all about, and that's servicing and create a fantastic experience. That's here to stay. What's going to change is that hotels need to fundamentally rethink how they deliver that experience, and that's where we spend our focus on.
That's really very insightful. One question, that I was thinking on this, and of course, this is open to opinions from the other panelists. Please feel free to ask anything, or put in any other comments that you want to what Frank has said. So one question that I wanted to ask you, Frank, on this was, last year, especially after the pandemic, or during the pandemic rather, and when everybody was struggling with the revenue and how to get any kind of demand in, we saw a lot of new services, in the sense of packages, or hotels trying to get into the food delivery business, or utilizing their car parking for providing parking spaces. So any form of revenue. So any ideas, any thoughts that you want to share on that, as to what other new things could be done? Like you mentioned, a lot of on-premise things that hotels could think of. So just your thoughts on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for the opportunity. We like to think in threes, right? I said earlier, retailing, distribution, and fulfillment. So the first part is how to deliver that offer to your customers. How do you get into a position where you can even showcase what you have to offer? I think that's the first component. The second component is to make that offer then omni-channel available across the board, be it to the corporate market, be it to the leisure market, be it to the group market. It doesn't really matter. Omni-channel distribution. And then the last component is around how do you fulfill that particular offer, right? And when the ask is, and when the premise is, or when the direction is to think beyond the room, then anything can be sold if it is related to the service that you provide on site. And I think that's the connection, right? So you have to think about, as a city hotel, you may have tour operators in the local marketplaces to do cool things. You may have a movie theater just around the corner. You may have entertainment, restaurants, bars, cafes, where people would like to go on a food trip or whatever, right? All those kinds of elements of the trip as part of that experience become now much more elevated, because the consumer is looking for more than just a place to stay or a bed for the night, right? And the ancillary revenue opportunities are infinite. It's like there is no limit to the ability for you to capture ancillary sales. When I worked for AirAsia, the ancillary revenue at the time was marginal, right? When Tony started to do his business, there was no blanket sales, there was no extra luggage sales and whatever. But by the time I left, ancillary sales reached 40% of total revenues. And that's because of the system was able to provide that offer in an easy, consumable way and fashion to the traveler, right? You can make a purchase on the app, you can buy it on the plane, right? You have to think about how do you bridge the gap to make that experience an easy experience to execute from search to select to book and pay, and that is where the focus needs to be. So I answered it in a different context. I didn't specifically went into what are the kinds of things, namely that you can sell. It's literally infinite, and we have workable prototypes. We're working with hotels on this intelligent retailing project, and we have a very firm vision that by 2025 this is going to be a fundamentally different marketplace, right? Fundamentally different. It will never be the same again.
Hello everyone, it's Vinicius here. I lost my voice. However, I have a question for all the panelists here. As we are a distribution, we have a marketing company as Hotel Networks. We have a Hausmer rate that compares rates and also, reviews and also heat maps or hot maps and cold maps on demand. Then we have Rate Tiger, that is a distribution, RM. We have Sabre that have the same. We have Ilplan as the same. My question for you is, I'm sorry for my voice for everybody, I really lost it. But, and this is not only for Frank, for all of you, what do you can recommend as a strategy on distribution? Because we can have channels between 10 till 40%. We still have companies that go and buy half your hotel, and then you cannot manage revenue. And then you have channels that cover a different percentage. What do you recommend for them to have a nice and cool strategy to make more profit?
Can I jump on this one? I mean, I think
everybody can, Sivan.
Okay, let me dig in, and then so initially, needless to say, a balance distribution it's needed. You cannot really rely on something. Can you imagine what would have been of this pandemic 10 years ago, when hotels handed over all the digital distribution to OTAs or all the offline distribution to wholesalers? Already hotels have switched that mindset a few years back. And it's because of that switch on that mindset that they stand a greater chance to try to recover some of that ownership of that channel, of their direct channel. So I feel that while balance it's key, driving towards solutions and addressing each channel in detail in order to obtain as much revenue as possible in each of these channels is essential for them to be able to drive their own business and to be able to swerve the company through all the different scenarios, changing environments which we have at this moment in time.
If I may join the conversation as well, I will tap on to what Frank was saying earlier, and that will maybe Vinicius answer also your questions. I agree that ancillary revenue is a great potential in the hotel industry. It's been explored by the airlines, but I think one of the biggest industry in selling ancillary revenue is car sales, where you have a typical car sales is on average attached to 17 different additional ancillary sales. And I think from the distribution perspective, this is all already possible. I mean, the technologies out there for distribution are so great that they can handle and cope with a lot of ancillary revenue, additional sales. What I think needs to kind of catch up is the sales ability of the hotels to think about this way, because before it was very easy I would say, sales, where you would contract the room, you would contract the meeting room, you would contract some typical, like they would say, other revenues, like spas, etc. Now the mindset of a hotel salesperson needs to actually shift towards that ancillary opportunities that are out there. Like Frank was mentioning, there may be a great movie theater close to your hotel. There may be some various other different things. And as Frank was saying, technology gives you the opportunity to sell that. What you need to do now is to switch on your mindset to actually be creative in what to sell.
I have
Absolutely.
just one tip that I want to provide for the hoteliers. I'm so sorry for my voice, but when we talk about distribution, remember, right now we have Booking.com with a new solution. They are charging directly, and they're giving discounts, and they're breaking the parity. So right now is the time for hoteliers to break parity on distribution. So do that, and maybe if you sell too much through a channel that you pay 25-30%, use the other ones that maybe don't charge you that much, and create strategical. I'm so sorry. It's very difficult to me to speak. I count with your patience with all of you, but my recommendation is that if you have a channel that covers you and you have the 40% paying 35% commission, set it up your flat rate there and go for those channels that you pay between 10-19%. You can break the parity and you can create strategies. And remember, and all over the world, even if you're a luxury hotel, and even if you're a small hotel, people love promotions. Normally, people always want to get advantage at some point. So use that as a resource to make more reservations. If it's not directly through the channel that you pay less. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Niha. I'm so sorry, guys.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you so much for your inputs. Really very valuable, and you make some great points.
And Niha, if I may add something.
Yes, please, Soraia.
There is actually a proverb. I love proverbs. And there is one that I like a lot, which is don't put all eggs in one basket. And I think that goes very much in the direction of what has been said and to the discussion that Vinicius has launched. Also, you mentioned something, Niha, that you are very proud to be part of Travel Tech because you have seen so many companies just popping up as a result of the pandemics, and that's a result of creative thinking. And I think that should also be extended to hoteliers. It's time for hoteliers to think creatively. And for those that are not looking at their channel mix, it's probably time for them to incorporate this thinking in their analysis. And perhaps it's time to think whether they want to change the contribution of any of the channels they work with. And this takes months. So time to do that, and it's an effort, a mutual effort between revenue management teams, marketing teams, sales teams. So really time to think about channel mix and about the weight and contribution of that each channels has in your sales.
So I'm saying, don't be afraid to do it, because if you pay too much for 30% or 25%, don't be afraid. What is going to happen? People will go to the channel that you make your best offer at the end. Sorry, Mohnish.
No worries, Benny. So yeah, it's great. Like we all talk about being having a great mix of a hotel, but don't you think how easy is it for guests to find your hotel online? There are 1,000 hotels. They are selling rates on different OTAs. There are loads of OTAs now. So I And also, I have this concept of an omni-channel customer experience, which Frank was mentioning earlier. Um, I believe, like, how easy is it for guests to find your hotel online? Are they able to find all the information they need? Convenience, basically, is what I want to touch upon. Consistency. Do you maintain a strong online presence, or do you respond to reviews consistently? Are you active on your social media? And also the communication. Can customer reach you easily? Are you trained to handle their concern and grievance? Do you reach out to your loyal customers? And again, smartphone friendly for sure. Now we've seen business moving towards mobile. I'm sure Ivan will be having more insight to it. But overall, we have seen the smartphone friendly thing. The first step in developing an omni-channel customer experience, right, is creating a mobile experience, and also focusing on the customer experience first, engaging with your customer across all channels. It's just not that, like, you listed your rooms and rates and you're not engaging with them. And again, investing in the data management, what I believe is one of the key factor to move forward, and ensuring like you have right infrastructure to store data and access it quickly for and it quickly for critical or for small businesses what you have. So that's
Oh,
all kind
so,
of what I add.
hey, so Mohnish, if I may, Nia, for just a quick reflection. Firstly, thank you for opening the door for this one. This is great. So, you said, like, how can hotels actually be found to be booked? I mean, that's a great point, right? Because in you got to be reflective in the way where is the hospitality industry today, right? And I come from that industry, and it's been super fragmented. It is still super fragmented. If I think about an independent hotel figuring out how to reach a customer in New York City when they're based in Spain, it's just like I'm going to get a headache just thinking about it. So firstly, the omni-channel distribution, in terms of what Soraia and Vinny was saying, how should it be approached, and should I do it or not do it? To me, it's a matter of if it's a matter of financial benefits, right? It's ROI. I don't care how much commission I pay. At the end of the day, if I get the revenues that come from it, I open the floodgates and I get it. I don't mind. It's a distribution cost, and if the distribution cost is reasonable and the revenue is reasonable, then I don't mind. And omni-channel distribution comes with what Soraia said earlier: great management and interactions between teams, revenue management, general management, marketing, etc., etc. And to be available requires that you focus on technology that can enable you this distribution environment and being present in a simple way and fashion. You don't want to be exposed to manage 12 different platforms in order to get to where you need to be. That's a question you need to answer. And you may pay a small premium for having a central environment in which you manage your distribution, but at the end of the day, it's the ROI that comes with it, right? If there is a single rate display across all the channels, no matter where the customer is looking, then nobody can buy down, right? Nobody can find a cheaper rate in another channel. So you give everybody, from a distribution perspective, the opportunity to sell your hotel at that price point that it should be valued at. I think I just want to quickly reflect. So thank you, Mohnish, for opening the gate. That was terrific. Thank you for that.
Can I jump into this beautiful gate? I agree. It goes a little bit to what I mentioned a little bit before. Yeah, you need to have a balance. You have to have a balanced diet in your life. You have to have a balanced distribution, and everyone, all these distribution have different costs. It makes sense that if an OTA is driving certain ads, etc., in order to deliver that booking to your property, they need to have a commission. But there is a moment of truth in which hotels need to also capitalize, which is at some point that user that just had a breakfast in your hotel today was on your website. Whether it was before purchasing or after purchasing, the chances of you being able to reclaim that booking were there. while you go to your website, the chances of enhancing your whole concept, we're talking about creativity. I've seen great creativity in the last year or so. We've seen staycations, we've seen work from hotel, I've seen a hotel in Hong Kong which organized a weekend in Bangkok, which was 2 nights in Hong Kong in the hotel with a dinner, a Thai dinner, a Thai massage, and a class of Muay Thai, Thai boxing, packed up in order for users that could not travel to Thailand. So that creativity is not going to be seen in certain platforms. So when you have put time and effort into driving those products to be able to stand and to survive through your domestic or international traveler, there is also ways for you to capitalize your channel. So you have the ways in which you perform in some other channels where the distribution is done for you, and therefore you have to pay a commission. But those distribution channels which belong to you, where you can actually create, which I agree with Frank, greater ROI opportunities for you, not only in the moment of purchase, but also enabling owning that client. Normally, OTAs will not share with you the name and the email of that client that is going to spend night with you, because they will want to nurture that client and try to upsell opportunities for them, while hotels, having that knowledge in their direct bookings, they can reach out to that client and say, hello, Ivan, I know that you're arriving today at 8 o'clock in the morning to the airport. The room will be ready by 2 o'clock. Do you need me to get the room ready for you? Is there anything else that we can do, et cetera, et cetera? So you can build that communication, which will drive towards a better guest experience, which is what the hotel wants to do, to try to personalize experience, just like they personalize every single step of the guest stay. And to personalize that, as Mohnish mentioned, on a mobile or on a desktop, when you have that moment of truth of that user going to your website, which I think that it's one part that hotels have been increasingly working on, and that it's really productive for properties that take that stand and go ahead. And definitely those bookings that come from another channel are fantastic. But when you have the opportunity of nurturing that user within your direct channel, try and grasp every opportunity that you have, which you can do with technology or with other platforms, etc.
Thank you, Ivan. I just want to give a last tip, and then I will shut up, Niha. Don't be angry with me. However, normally you can have a lot of, I don't say the names, but we can see.
You're muted, Vinny. Can you just unmute
Sorry,
yourself?
yes, I'm here. I'm totally agree with Van. I just want to give for all the hoteliers a big tip. Normally, I cannot say names, but you get a call and said, okay, you want to be at the first page of my OTA for your destination? Okay, right now from 13, you pay me 25. Don't do that. All the algorithms for the OTAs work on this way. I have 17 years working in more than 37 countries, more than 3,800 hotels in my hands during my young age. You know how you do it? If you have a hotel that have 50 rooms, then you need to control, but set 200 rooms for sale. And what you can do, for example, this is very aggressive. Took your price 50% up and give a 50% discount. You're going to appear in the first page without paying nothing more. And that they all blocking you. This is a tip that maybe nobody says. And a few sponsors maybe going to kick me out after this. Sorry, I don't speak anymore. But that's a good tip. But you need to control. If not, you can have an you can sell more than what you have to sell. But that is one tip, to not pay more. Thank you. Niha, I let you speak. I shut my mouth now.
Thank you, Vinny. You're always welcome, Vinny. Please, whenever you have an input, please do share, because you, of course, come with years of valuable experience. You've been there, done that. So definitely. Kris, I'm not sure if you're struggling with your connection, and I see that you possibly wanted to say something. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you see me, or can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear
Yeah,
you, but I can't
your
see you.
camera just goes off.
Oh, really? No, I can see myself on the video. No, I am here. I wanted to add that the same point that Vinicius had is which is about control, because we've discussed omni-channels, we've discussed sales mix and creativity and ancillary revenues, but as Frank rightly also said, there's no way you can manage all these things when you have 12 different technologies or sources of distributions there to manage. So you need to have proper technology to be in control of what you're doing. And the costs that we have mentioned, they will be actually costs if you don't control. If you control it, distribution becomes an investment. So that's a very right point that I wanted to highlight. Control is very important in all that we're doing in distribution.
That's a great point, Kris. If I may have a quick reflection, and also on Vinny's point around the cost of distribution. A panel is always good if there is a bit of controversy, and let me introduce some controversy because that will spice up the discussion. As a technology solution provider, we're entirely channel agnostic. Right, so we're enabling our partners and hoteliers to use any channel that they want, and it is left to the hotels, to the hoteliers, to the chains, to the independents to determine what is the right strategy to attract a customer through any channel, right? And I want to caution the audience to bias one over the other, right? In times of need where revenue is crucial, I think it is important that you reach as many customers as possible. And I think that's the beauty of being in control of your distribution. You can determine when to open, when to close. You can determine at what price point you think that distribution cost is an acceptable cost or not. And I think that is what differentiates today's world with the world of the past, because the technology is now enabling you to take that control, and then you can introduce marketing techniques, you can use retargeting techniques, you can use techniques to drive, as Ivan was saying, bookings to your own website, and you may be able to even deliver an offer through your own direct channels that is unparalleled and unmatched, because it can't be distributed through the today's world of distribution channels, right? This is one of the challenges that we're overcoming in thinking about our 2025 marketplace. Personalization and packaging offers into like a retailing kind of environment also requires that your onboard distribution needs to be able to consume that offer. And there's a lot of time and money spent in enabling that and working with partners and thinking through how that offer can be distributed multifold. I may have, in my old days when I was a CEO myself of hotel companies and worked in hotels at the front desk, I may have had a similar kind of maybe understanding, because we saw the bills are coming in, right, from third-party companies. But at the end of the day, it's the ROI that matters, right? It's you have to think of it from a different perspective. And I encourage hoteliers to keep a very open mind and really rethink their go-to-market strategy as to how do they want to do it, right? So, what are the right tools, technologies, and methodologies to do it? And I think that's the discussion to have. So I appreciate to be given the opportunity to maybe create some controversy here. So.
Please do, Frank. We love
That's awesome,
controversies.
Frank. Travel Tech has been created for that. We have different opinions, and we're here to teach and educate hoteliers. Because, as you know, we have more than 500,000 hotels in the world. That is 4 and 5-star hotels. However, we have 1,200,000 accommodations all over the world. That is small hotels, Airbnb, and 1-2 stars. And the 500,000, we need to include a 3-star hotel. And we need to remember one very important thing. We have 80% of hoteliers in the world, they still managed by families or constructors that build a hotel. That's all, Niha. I really shut up. If not, you don't proceed. Sorry.
No, Vinny, thank you again. And Frank, great point that you make there. So thank you for that. I think we have been talking about one side of, of course, the distribution mix, the ROI of distribution, and to Mohnish's point on what he mentioned. So on the other side, when we talk about how this pandemic has changed, booking patterns and booking behavior, I think that again is a big discussion. So obviously, as hotels, as technology providers, we can help hotels to position themselves to make their, packages, products, or whatever services they're offering on different channels. But how is today's customers, travelers, you, me, all of us for that matter, how are we engaging, or how are we how has things changed when it comes to how we are booking or consuming all this information that is coming to us? So Ivan, my question for you is, what actions can be taken or tools used to adapt to this new booking behavior or booking pattern that we see amongst travelers today?
Okay. So, well, first of all, I think the current situation has only accentuated a trend which was already there. Users were more tech savvy. Users were more confident into searching and book direct. Also, because of hotels were working towards that area. So I feel that the last couple of years after the world stopped, because there was a moment, I don't know, I think that we have gone through so many scenarios that at some point we're going to remember this, like, okay, so what happened to us these 2 years, perhaps another year or so to come, depends on the destination, etc. When the world stopped, that everyone froze. And then people started to take ownership of themselves, and we saw what we mentioned before, more creativity in the hotels, which needs to be developed further. And it's something that it's one of the key takeaways that hotels need to remember, that they were creating experiences rather than just offering an accommodation, etc. So I feel at the time we were already seeing that surge on direct bookings, on that pattern. So as demand changed, the guest with this new scenario became more cautious. Hotels needed to adapt in order to deliver better messaging, in order to highlight cleaning patterns, react to different travel conditions, etc. So I feel that the way in which hotels needed to conduct their business suddenly, through urgency and scarcity of that original demand, was adapted, and they needed to be more tech savvy. We've seen a greater adoption in technology in order to react to different type of users, in order to enhance the offer that they can offer in that time in which the user is focusing on their site, in order to stand competitive, show price comparisons versus OTAs, to stand and say, "Hey, best price guarantee strategies." So I feel that the swift, which was already happening, as I mentioned before, this pandemic 10 years ago would have been much more devastating for the industry, because the industry didn't have the resources, the tools, and the mindset to drive their own channel. They reacted more effectively to, so it speed up the process to enhance that direct conversion. So how hotels could do this is by understanding one thing first. Historical data disappeared. No one was ready, and no pattern, no user behavior previous to date could tell us what the client was going to do next. And therefore, we needed to resolve to real-time scenarios. So we needed to find ways to understand user behavior, which is happening right here, right now, and react in real time in order to adapt strategy. Our source markets change. If you had initially one particular nationality that really loved your property, perhaps that nationality still loves your property but cannot travel to your destination. Many hotels I found that they did not have, especially in APAC, they did not have their websites translated to their own language because they were catering for international tourists, but now they had to adapt to domestic traveler. So, needless to say, a user searching on your website within your destination versus a user searching on your website from another destination, there's a whole different user intent in it. And hotels need to react differently to that user, which is a potential client, to that one that perhaps they need to inform that we are not now receiving people from your destination, but give us your email and we'll get back to you whenever travel is back, in order to adapt and be more versatile. So I think that just to wrap it up, number one, there was an accentuation of the situation. So we already saw hotels driving towards direct bookings more often, and this now made them react quicker. Number two, there was a new need to be able to not only understand better data, but to how to leverage that data, because then sometimes you get stuck in data. You have so many data points that you are like, okay, so what do I do with this? So to technology providers, I feel that we also turn into making those data points more actionable, which is what I mentioned before, to be able to either benchmark your property against other properties at your direct channel, or to react in real time to situations when users are scrolling on your website. And I feel that eventually those patterns will continue in years to come. Adding up to the previous conversations that Vinicius started, it's open up all the different channels, but when you take looking at each particular channel with its particular needs on there.
Ivan, what you're just saying is the most important channel is your direct channel. And I just want to say something and give an opinion. Everything that Ivan says totally correct, 100%. However, it's not the time anymore. Last year, normally we recommend all hotels be like a hospital, and showing that, okay, you're safe here because, most of the governments in the world do not provide any kind of good information. However, a lot of hotels take pictures and with glues, with love, and you go to imagine that because if we talk about mice and corporate, I think will take, as Frank says, 2025 to recovery 100%.
Oh.
However, for leisure, all leisure recovery is straight away. We have data from Mexico, for example, from Brazil, and other as Australia. And if we speak about Los Angeles, California, and Turkey, you have all the people going there and buying. Okay. Last year, we told the hotels, tell them you're safe. But at some point, some hotels like, I don't know, it's like, okay, we're a hospital. Right now is the time to change that image to say, we're safe. Don't show your glues. Or maybe if you have your Instagram, your Facebook, and even your LinkedIn, show how in 30 seconds, 1 minute, how the people clean the room, or another video, 30 seconds, how the standards when you go to the hotel, you're going to have things to keep yourself safe, but not as a hospital. Right now, we are coming back. We'll still have more 6 to 7 months to recovery. I don't know if it's 100%, but the leisure is the one that recovery very fast. I know data that they increase their prices 25 to 40%, and they have, come on, everybody here works all over the world. Did you ever see resorts in low seasons that normally they have 30% occupation? Right now, during the week, they have 85, 90%. So change it a little bit and use the direct sales that is a distribution side, but don't be a hospital, please. Hospitals like, okay, if I go there, they're gonna give me like a cap and say, "This is your room." This is just my opinion.
I think that I agree with you. You have to end up selling an experience, and you want to be somewhere that is pleasurable to stay.
Correct.
Sometimes,
Correct.
if it's your need, if you're searching for one single user between Monday and Thursday, perhaps you're a business client, and then you have to kind of you have different markets going into your property. But I feel that the one thing that it's definitely going to be an add-on for hotels is to stay on your feet and be alert, because you have a recovery plan, and that recovery plan perhaps is going to stop, it's going to change, and it's going to need you to adapt that plan 1 month from now, 10 days from now, 15 days from now, because situations change in the source market or within your own market. We've seen in how, for example, Australia and New Zealand started the first open bubble, then New Zealand opened up with the Cook Islands, etc. So, but those situations, or we've seen how Hong Kong and Singapore twice were about to open up a bubble, and everyone was gearing up for that, and then suddenly, a couple of cases in APAC, we are very restrictive. So, a couple of cases, and then the bubble stops, and then you have to start again. So, I feel that it should come as an encouragement for those hotels to continue adapting and to continue chasing every single opportunity, rather than just stand still and wait for it to for the situation to take a full recovery before you can continue selling the product that you used to sell before.
I just want to say that when I said about mice and corporate, that it was very bad, because I said 2025 is frank, but that's true. Normally, I have 3 different companies. Before, I maybe send a salesperson of my company, not Travel Tech, the other 2, to, I don't know, to Colombia to stay 1 day to see a big client and coming back. Right now, that don't happen anymore. And don't will happen not because the companies don't have the money. Because right now, companies saw that it's easier have Zoom. And even only if it's really important to go. So we're going to have a mice recovery with events. Events is a key. Events is key to recovery in corporate cities. However, when let's speak about Miami, or let's speak about, I don't know, Rio de Janeiro. I know it's not APAC, but it's the one I'm doing, or Singapore. Singapore, you have a good site to go and drink a margarita. But okay, the city is not so cool as Malaysia or Thailand. And you have cities that are leisure and corporate. So those cities that you can mix, right now, they will more based on leisure. But cities at São Paulo, come on, you have a lot of culture. It's like New York. You have a lot of things you can do. But okay, New York have a lot of vaccine. Let's say São Paulo. But São Paulo don't have a beach to go. It's corporated. And if you don't have the leisure, represent 15, 17%. So for them right now, a city that have 47 million persons in a city, they still have 25 to maximum 40% with some point or some events that is happening. So the key for the corporate cities to coming back will be totally events included together. But if you are, it's my opinion, no? Everybody can be and disagree, and I hope you disagree. But if we go to a place like Rio de Janeiro, that most of the people think is only to go in samba and blah, 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 it's leisure, it is not. Right now, Rio de Janeiro, for example, don't have more than 37% occupation because there is still a corporate city. However, if you go 60 kilometers from Rio de Janeiro, you have a Caribbean Brazilian with 92% occupation during the week and 100% during the weekends. So it's something that all the hoteliers needs to have that in mind. So I hope to express myself. I'm tired, but I'm cool. I'm so sorry my voice. But as Kris told me, I'm not Rob Stewart, man. I love to be.
Yeah, just if you don't mind, Nia, just a quick reflection
We
on
don't
the,
mind,
the
Frankie. That's the
yeah,
part I
thank
need
you.
to pick.
Thank you. Thank you. It's on the 2025 projection, right? I just want to make sure this is not misunderstood. So the 2025 date is a saber date that we have set for ourselves to fulfill our vision in really recreating a new marketplace. It is unrelated to the current recovery. So this is our own strategic goal, where we believe that the marketplace, as it has fundamentally changed, it has become a much smaller marketplace, and it requires of all entities within the travel space to really rethink how we go to market. And we have said by 2025 we will be the driving force behind this change in the marketplace, and we will create one for hoteliers that is through personalized offerings anchored in revenue generation. That's what this is all about. When we think in that context about recovery, we will say that definitely the leisure market recovery is fundamentally leading, and we can see it in every single domestic marketplace. And we do expect that the hospitality industry, uh, in comparison to agency business or airline business, will continue to lead until we find that the governments will be able to agree to open channels and make travel a more simplified way of traveling, right? I mean, I'm experiencing it myself. I'm in a hotel, and the 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 administrative burden that you have to currently undergo to travel is just unreal, right? And it's not only the administrative burden, but it's also the associated cost. And I cannot see how many people will be able to, one, endure and also be willing to go through that, right? So there has to be fundamentally the governments and the officials and the countries itself need to rethink what will be that common agreement to re-enable and reenact travel, because in the current scenario, it will not be conducive to reopen the floodgates, so to speak. But I have conviction, and I'm confident that once that has occurred, you will see that to be improving, quite significantly. So when we think about recovery, and as a publicly traded company, we don't make forward-looking statements. But what we do see is that it will take at least another year or so until we see the corporate business to come back to 2019 levels. That's our current expectations, and we have seen that marketplace maybe not recovering as we would have hoped, but we see it's moving in the right direction. And definitely, if I compare it to the first quarter of last year, in particular March and April, I mean, we have never seen bookings to the extent we have seen in the last quarter, right? It exceeded 2019 levels. So the pent-up demand is real. So I just want to make sure that the context of
I made a
dates.
mistake. I get the
No problem.
context in a different way.
No,
I'm
no
so
problem.
sorry.
No,
But
no,
on
no
my
problem. No,
vision,
no.
corporate don't will recovery till 2024, 2025. That is
Yeah, yeah.
vision based on statisticals. Because, for
Yes,
example,
yeah.
last year when we started Travel Tech, everybody was saying, we have the best circumstances on the world in 6 months we're recovery. And I was like the bad guy. I'm saying to everybody, no,
Mhm.
we don't will recovery normally in the MICE till 2024. But leisure, they will. So I'm so sorry. Maybe I mix things, but on
No,
my
no.
point of view, leisure will recovery so fast because everybody wants to travel. Myself is 1 year, 6 months stuck. I don't travel,
I
and I
have
want to come back, travel, and make business. But for concerning what I said, for the mice will depend a lot on the events. Events will be crucial, and all over the world, events will be crucial for mice. Mice always going to have people fly in and make business. But right now, it's easier for a company to make business without flying or spend too much money. And maybe, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I don't enter on that road. Niha, I just set my video 1 second, just so you see that I'm really sick. I'm not feel good because my face, as you see, is not pretty well. So I shut up. Thank you very much, Frank, for to explain. And I'm so sorry to mix things
No,
for everybody that
no
listening
problem.
to us. It was
No
my
problem.
bad. When you do
No
something
problem.
wrong, you need to say, I'm wrong.
No,
And I was wrong.
no, not at all, not at all, not at all. It's all good. I just wanted to put it into context, right? Because we certainly believe that the recovery will be faster, but we also believe that, and I think that's the important point, right? The travel landscape and the environment is gonna change. I mean, the GDS is gonna be different. The way how online distribution work will be different. The way how hotels need to behave in this space will be different, and the way what customer expects of the hospitality business will be different. And we need to, the sooner everybody can realize that and can start moving towards that common target and goal, the better it is for everybody.
I
I
repeat
think
that along this 4 days of the travel tech, what I also recommend for hotels is the upselling. You have a lot of tools that can do upselling, but the most important thing right now, if you can create a package, as maybe Ivan told, that you go to Hong Kong, you have a Mai Tai because you're gonna go to Thailand. That is crucial. Right now, you need to provide experience, but if you don't have, because you can be a huge resort. You can have the spa, the yoga, you can have the mind cleaning, or you can lose weight. That's one thing I need to do after the pandemic, for example. But however, you need also to understand where your hotel geographical it is, and maybe make partnerships. I'm gonna repeat what I repeat for the last few days. You have a pirate boat. That pirate boat you need to include in your package and make a destination work together as a DMS. We don't have too much DMS systems in the world. That is a destination management systems. And what we have at the moment, the destination management systems, we have only selling hotels as a B2C and then a B2B. Right now, DMS needs to improve. They need to sell the B2C, the B2B, but includes everybody in that destination. Neha, go ahead. I'm sorry. I have in New York at 11 a.m. I have a call in New York. I don't know if I'm going to have a voice. Thank you, Frank. And I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinny. Please, you don't have to say sorry. Come on.
Frank said something which is really interesting with regards to, well, he says many things that were very interesting, but one I'm going to capitalize on, which is how flexible and how easy travel is going to be. That's going to be a key part. I myself, I'm traveling today to Bangkok, and the last 20 days of my life have been a back and forth of information requested by the embassy.
Sorry, Ivan, I hate you. You go to Bangkok and then have a near beach. You make 20 kilometers.
The next 15 days. The next 15 days, I'm going to be closed in a room.
I have only buildings, I'm jealous.
The next 15 days, I'm going to be closed in a room with no access to even a single beer, and doing my own bets because they will keep me. They will not go into the room for anything. So for the next 15 days, on top of that, I'm going to be sharing experience with my 16-year-old daughter. 16 years. Can you imagine, with a teenager for 15 days solid? So don't envy me. So, but what I mean, it's for example, we've seen already how Phuket has opened the Phuket Sandbox, which is a new scheme by which, if you are fully vaccinated, you can go in with a PCR test, and for the next 24 hours until the result is done, you stay in the room. But then afterwards, you can stay within the island for 14 days before you can move on with the rest of the country. So these opportunities hopefully will start reducing some of that burden, which indeed is, because I had felt it on my bare bones, is for the last 20 days I've been back and forth getting all paperwork stamped, make sure that I have everything in detail in order to be able to take that plane today and go back to Thailand. So I think it's something also what we have to foresee, and how those situations are going to change to facilitate hospitality for international travel as well. So I think it was a very good point.
Yeah, Evan, the initiative is a fantastic initiative, right? And I do appreciate that everybody is attempting to rejuvenate travel. But if you think about it, right, it's impossible for somebody from Singapore to go to Phuket, because on the return flight you need to stay 2 weeks in quarantine. So nobody's doing that. Although the destination is enabling you to be quarantined for 24 hours, depending on where you come from, you will still face a tremendous burden on your return flight, even having no guarantee to be able to be accepted when you return. So my earlier point was, unless and today the fact that you are vaccinated is not giving you any benefits at all in the context of travel, right? You're not treated any more superior or non-superior in terms of quarantine all around the world. And I think that's where the big onus is going to be, right? The onus is going to be on the governments and on the regulators to come back with some fundamental workable solutions that are unilaterally acceptable. And we're very engaged in this dialogue. We're thinking about how can technology enable and help with the transmission of that data and information, of course, in a private and secure way and fashion to facilitate travel. But unless that is sorted, you will continue to see situations such as the travel corridor between Singapore and Hong Kong, or Australia and New Zealand, etc., where it is the intention to open, and then it's going to close back down again because of these fundamentals are not yet in place, right? So it's an unforeseen circumstance. We've never been in a situation like this, and that's what makes it probably partially even more frustrating for all of us, to predict or to be able in a position to give some prognosis. The only thing we have is what we see at the here and now. And I can only restate the signs are extremely optimistic. The pent up demand is super real. We can see it evidenced every day in the data set. We're in very close connection with all of our partners around the globe, and I'm so glad to see them thriving back again and having full hotels, decent rates. We've seen, in particular, the luxury segment really benefiting from the current situation, which is terrific. People, it's not a matter of price, right? I mean, for how many years it has been a matter of price for people to travel and enjoy travel, but at the moment it's not a matter of price. It's really a matter of experience and being able to get out and falling in love again with your home country. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. Everybody was looking for the far away destination, and in many ways you fall in love again with your home place, and that's a beautiful thing also for the local businesses. So there's always a silver lining. And I do believe that the industry will strongly recover. We see great signs of it, and it's going to be terrific. I have no doubts about it that we will be going back to this crazy world of traveling. I've been grounded since the 14th of March last year, right? And before that, I was traveling half the year, 160 days a year. I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to smell that airplane again from the inside. So it's going to be awesome.
One thing that I see and what you're talking about is for all the governments, they'll create tax and they're building some kind of taxes and putting you in a hotel, making you pay. As Canada, for example, Canada right now make you pay 400 Canada dollars. That means $300 per day, and you just stay and you pay when you're coming back. So the bad thing about the pandemic is a lot of governments is using this as a business, and this is bad. This is my opinion.
So I think we have digressed a little, and I'll just quickly bring back the discussion to distribution, which is our key topic today. We'll discuss the governments and their policies at some other point, because this will continue for some time. No, Winnie, thanks for your input. Thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts here. So let me go to Mohnish, and when we are talking distribution, Mohnish, I would like to hear from you your thoughts on how, the distribution landscape has changed over the last year specifically, and how do you see online connectivity, distribution mix? We've all touched upon this topic earlier in the discussion. How do you think that the distribution mix especially will be playing a bigger role going forward? Please share your thoughts.
Thank you, Neha. So before I talk about how it will take, let me take you back a bit 20 years back, I believe. For past 20 years, hoteliers thought of distribution almost solely as a mean of to push out hotel availability, rates, and inventory, specifically in relation to the market share of bookings between brand.com and online travel agencies. That's OTAs. Unfortunately, this narrow focus on ARI has caused hotels to disgrade their emerging trend, or disregard their emerging trend that makes the booking experience more personalized, mobile, and interconnected, and also allow them to win booking back from their direct competitors and OTAs. The industry has developed beyond simply distributing hotel availability, rates, and inventory, and also into amenities, add-on, and ancillary products to create customized experience for modern and experienced traveler. Today, hotel brands should be focusing on concept of total distribution. That is broadening the discussion from room-only distribution to entire platform for travelers to customize their complete guest journey. We all know when OTAs they came first. I don't want to open up another gate here, but when OTAs came first onto the market, they quickly formed a symbiotic relationship to the hotels, right? With the hotels, so charging modest commissions in exchange for buying excess inventory and providing free advertising in the form of billboard effect, which we know. In this environment, it made sense to focus on hotel room only distribution to integrate and manage as many booking channels as possible. While booking the most inventory at the best possible rate, essentially were selling at the right place at right price. Unfortunately, this world no longer exists within hospitality. Why I say that, as OTA rapidly increased their share of digital booking market up to 41% in 2020, including 52% of millennials. They began to dramatically increase their commission from 15 to 30% or even higher for some countries again. This placed hotels in a bind. They needed OTA to move inventory, yet the higher commission fees were cutting into their profits. OTA were also monopolizing the guest relationship. When a guest booked through an OTA instead of brand.com, the OTA gained access to the guest data and ultimately their loyalty. So the result was a commodification of hotel booking market, where hotels were forced to compete based on rates and not based on brand distinction or value. Hotel needed a way to differentiate their brand from competitor to encourage direct booking and build customer loyalty. Fortunately for hotels, a major change is in thinking occurred in how people planned out their vacation now and purchase product in general. So summarizing it back, I believe, just as Ivan was mentioning about the mix, like, it's just not only OTAs anymore who will be supporting you, or who will be, though they will play a major role on your online presence, and they'll give you the share for sure because they have more money than you, maybe. And moving forward, I think a right mix, your GDS, your meta search connectivity will also play a bigger role to increase and there are lots of channels like Club Travel now in Asia Pacific, and channels like even what we call them hybrid channel, right? Like a channel who does everything, right? So you need to find out such customers, like such partners now. And it's just not only a global channels which will be giving you business. You need to connect with your regional channels also. I really liked the one, like now many big chains, they are coming up in their local language also. They're building up their own website. So it means the local play a major role now, and it will be doing for quite good some time. So again, you should be connected not only with all the major channels, you should also look upon into regional channels. Like if you have from Japan, you should connect with Rakuten, for an example. If you're coming from Russia, you should be there with Ostrovo. Same with Miss and Mrs. Smith in UK. In Indonesia, it should be ticket.com. Many regional channels are there. So, and good news, I would like to end my discussion here with this is in my favorite destination, that is Indonesia, Bali, is opening up soon. And that's today only their government, Ivan, I can see you're happy, huh? Yeah, they are opening up. So all my love and regards to my people there in Indonesia. Thank you, Neha.
Thank you, Mohnish. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and inputs on that. Any questions or any comments, opinion on what Mohnish just shared here?
I did open a gate in my communication. I said one thing very, very. It's a hot topic though.
So I think I'll on this point I will just move to Soraia, and I have a very interesting question for you, something that a lot of hotels would love to hear. So Mohnish obviously talked a lot about distribution and how the mix and the variety of channels and how and what. So according to you, what are the distribution tips that you would want to give a hotel that is on a short budget? Budget, of course, has been a constraint, and we have been talking about ROI for quite a bit here. So this is something I'm really looking forward to. So go ahead, Soraia.
Okay, I think I definitely can give some tips, and I think my colleagues here can also add something. Okay, I'm not going to invent the wheel. I'm just going to pick up on some of the things that have been said here. So I'll probably start with what has been just said. So Mohnish, I'll take your pick. I'm not going to go through that open gate, but yes, diversifying business mix. It's a tip. It's easy and it's free. So Mohnish already said that start by reviewing the integration list of channels available. You can, if you're using a channel manager, you can just scroll down on the list, which is there. If you have some questions, let's address that to your account manager. But indeed, look at it, diversify. I think it was also Mohnish that said that source destinations are changing, and that would mean that diversifying the channel mix. When doing so, you should look at the new source destinations. Then picking up on what Vinicius has said, and I'm going to challenge him just a bit. Indeed, I mean, I definitely agree that MICE, and I think we all agree that MICE is going to be the last to recover. But
don't challenge me, Soraia. Don't do that. I love you. You're a friend of mine.
No, I agree. Look, I have started by saying that I do agree, and I mean, again, I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm just repeating what everyone is saying, and what we can see in the reports. And I think Frank can also confirm that we also are seeing that in China. So I think that we will just see a similar trend in other markets as well. But the fact that MICE will be slower to recover, it doesn't mean that the hotelier should neglect corporate business. So this is another free tip. Don't neglect. We were seeing changes. I think it was even that mentioned the fact that well, GDS is, yeah, it was Frank, sorry. GDS will never going to be the same again. Reminds me the song. And take into that account that it will, but even if the segment will recover slowly, just be present on channels to be prepared for the moment when it will recover. Now, I think I already, so yes, the go local, that was one of the topics that Mohnish has mentioned. Look for channels which are local and focus on your future guests, right? So not only at those that are about to come in the upcoming months, but also in the long term. And again, we know that also long haul, it's going to be harder to recover. Even is having all this trouble to get back from Europe to Thailand. But don't forget that long haul sooner or later will recover. So have open dates and open rates for future dates, depending on whether the OTAs or your channel manager allows it or not, but try at least to have open dates for at least the next 365 days, if not for even for 2 years ahead. I'm not going to tell you to have open rates for 2025 by when everything should be back to normal according to Sabre, but at least consider long terms. What else? I really liked what Frank said about the retailing revolution, and what Mohnish said about the total distribution. So this is again a tip. Think about your business, think about your hotel as a all-in-one shop. See whether you can offer something else than just a room and the breakfast. And what else? Well, again, not inventing the wheel. Be flexible. Now that we have all these changes in governments, we know that they change. In one day it's A, the other day it's B. Even probably can tell us more about it. I can tell us about that myself. I have gone through that. So be flexible. Offer flexible dates. Don't forget to have the refundables rate available. Of course, you can keep the non-refundables dates still available for higher room categories. Get used to cancellations. And I think this is for the hotels network. Monitor your competitor set. Again, I know that the hotels networks has some free. I'm actually doing free advertising, but I know that you have something very interesting which is for free. So am I wrong? I think one of your colleagues in the Latin American travel tech session was mentioning about that. So it's also a free tip, but I'll leave that for you. What is also free tips for short budget? Frank, you mentioned data management and the fact that control is key. And yes, have the tools available. Now the technology allows you to control your data and to analyze your data very, very easily. And even if you don't really have the fancy, the so-called fancy, because they're not so fancy tools, just at least examine the data which you can find in your PMS. We now say that the pickup is the new forecast, and you can really look at pickup data very, very easily in your PMS. Events. Someone mentioned events. It was Vinny. Yes, I mean, update your calendar event and do that on an ongoing basis. It's another free tip. And if I may just add another one, if you're if you're on short budget, still like automation or technology, it doesn't necessarily is a cost. It's more like an investment. So look at it as an investment. And it is a tip. Look at technology as an investment and not as a cost. and I think I have said too much by now. I think any of my colleagues here can add some more free tips. I was not really saying anything new.
You have so great knowledge, and when you think that you speak too much, it's like, well, why she says that? Come on, Soraia.
But that's why. That's because normally I know that I have these like 5 minutes that I can use,
No,
and
right
I
now
normally
we're
use
not
like
in
at
for the
least
5
twice as
minutes.
much of that
You have
as
more
that.
time. Please express yourself. Go ahead.
Soraya, I think it's great points you added also, and again, I'll retreat my point as a tip, which I'll say that you can have several girlfriends, right? But you need to know how to treat them, and you need to know how to make sure when. And here, the girlfriends are the OTAs and the different channels. So there are rules of the market, rules of the OTAs, looking into the content size, like what's your content you're putting there. You're providing them real good pictures or not, or maybe you're giving them some fancy picture downloaded from Google and somebody goes there and sees something different. You should be focusing on your content really good. And this is the right time. If your hotel is closed, please focus on your content now. Not only on your website, on your OTAs, on your any channels, any meta search where you have given your hotel information. Hire someone who can write for you. What do we call them? I'm forgetting the name.
Copywriter.
Yeah.
Content
So
writers.
yes, hire them if you don't have, or maybe if you know someone, get work on your content. That's something really important as a tip, which I would like
Yeah,
to
I
add.
definitely agree with you, Mohnish, because like for the past years we were seeing actually a war on pricing, and now probably we are already seeing, and we'll probably keep on seeing a war on content. So content is definitely key. If I can
Telling of
just
talking of content, like, and we are in the process to we just started like this recently 2 months back. Sorry, we can update the promotions to all the major channels. Now we're working towards content updates too, so we'll be directly updating contents to more major channels. That's, I think Saber already does that, right?
I just want to set something here. Two things. First, I want to correct Soraia, because Soraia always says that you have 500 connections, but right now we'll plan to have 739 connections. And I don't know why I know more than her, but and she's the chief. I'm just a
That's
good friend.
probably because I'm counting, like interfaces, and you're counting.
No,
An
this is
interface
true,
can
but
be
this is
more
true.
than one
You
connectivity.
plan it
Because
as more than 700 connectivities. And but concerning what Mohnish just said, okay, content, it's very important. But we need to understand when we use content, I'm gonna be very transparent with all of you, and maybe I can be a little bit aggressive. I have my own company. I have 3 different companies. One is e-commerce, global e-commerce. We have solutions for hotels, and you have solutions for any kind of companies. Then we have travel tech and HS Latin. However, we see a lot of contents that people try to engage with pictures and get, as all the marketing people love. It's like, okay, I got like 100 people that comment. Awesome. How many of those 100 that comment click and go to buy you? 1%. So your strategy is wrong. If you're a hotel, in my personal opinion, you can create content, you can make people be happy with content. But we are a business. Hotel is a business, and the hotel is one of the most complex industry, because normally people think that hoteliers, they are like, okay, you have a hotel, I go there, I sleep, I eat, and I go. No, they have engineering, they have electricity, they have cleaning stuff, they have a lot of people to clean your room. Then you have your breakfast. And if you have a spa, and you can go to resorts. What I recommend for hotels, okay, keep doing your content to engage people. But if you engage people and you do not direct those people to book directly, you're making something really, really wrong. Because at the end, it's better have two posts on TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, and make in one day sell $10,000. And if you keep posting and making histories, when you have an Instagram, more than 10,000 people, they let you make the put your hand and goes up. When you do that, don't make what most of the hotels does to the website. No. If you want to sell directly, you will need to send and what you're offering. If you're offering, let's be cliche, a romantic weekend. And romantic weekend, you put your hand and go up, and then you go to your website. You need to check and set the dates for the weekend. Then I click and search. And after that, I go to your booking engine. 75-80% of the people would just say, wait, where's the cliche? Where's the experience? I lost my experience. So every time you do something in social media, and if you've paid for that, first, have your tag manager use booking engines as we can have here. Sorry, Sabre, Book Now, Book Assist, all the people that's sponsors, but use them in the right way. Don't send people to your website. Send them directly for your romantic stuff. If not, you're going to lose those people. We have 4 seconds, only 4 seconds when somebody goes to your website. Normally, marketing people don't like the red. They call it red. It's too much aggressive. However, if you send somebody to your website and you have slides, put the red button. It's aggressive. Marketing persons don't like it. Don't care. People, the first thing they will see, even on the cell phone or on the computer, is the red button. Book now. Book now your romantic stuff. And that will take 1.2 seconds. That is the right and good way to make your business and direct business grow.
Can I add a little bit in what Vinicius is saying? But
of course,
yes, Sivan, yeah.
You make part of the biggest company in marketing in the world. Come on, man.
And what Soraia, you could have been talking another 10 minutes. I was enjoying throughout each and every step. So first of all, it's important to understand that users on your website, and this is one of the things that we launched now with Bench Direct, which is it's a benchmark product for your direct channel, it's as relevant a user that ended up booking as the user that didn't book. Because if you are able to understand the patterns of behavior of those users that maybe go to your website but didn't make a search, those users who search but didn't make a booking, and you can compare it with all those users that made it all the way to the end of your booking funnel, then you will be able to extract the data needed to adapt your strategy to be able to improve that level of conversion. And this is what we created. So the idea is, instead of normally benchmarking, what is being focusing on is in confirmation. So they give you data on ADR and occupancy based on your existing bookings, but they're missing the point of giving you the data of those users that didn't book. So this is one of the areas which we believe that is important in order to be able to optimize and increase conversion, which drives me to the point, one of the points that Soraia mentioned before. Right now, traffic acquisition can be an expensive game. unless you are able to captivate those, to turn those lookers into bookers more effectively. This is why right now React on personalization and conversion.
Ivan, don't be angry. I'll interrupt you with just 1 second. We need to remind for all the public, when you search the hotel that you want to be or want to make the book, 70% from 2007 till today, 70% of the public will search your hotel.
Yeah, it's what I mentioned before, that those users at some point have been on your website. But what I was mentioning is, so if you're able to improve your conversion, then you would be more capable of making more effective traffic acquisition, because more return on your traffic acquisition campaigns will come as a result. And with regards to mice, which is I don't have the current expertise. I used to work in mice before, so perhaps it's a little bit of my old self. I used to have hair at the time. I feel that we should be asking the questions which apply now. Like we are actually understanding that there are limitations on the technology. Zoom sessions are great, but are not fulfilling all the covers for a company to be able to deliver the right engagement. So perhaps we need to look into domestic scenarios. We need to look into those domestic meetings, which eventually is not going to be the piece of the cake that it was before, but to react to those opportunities that might be different. So ask the questions and source the answers that match your current scenario, rather than look at what it was once. It once was, sorry, I'm Spanish. This English is very difficult, complex scenario for me. Okay, that was it. But I really enjoyed your session, actually, Soraia, what you were mentioning in terms of using technology more effectively in order to drive more cost-effective strategies on your website, until scenarios on your business, until there are better times to spend more.
And if I can actually give another tip, because there is a bit of a discussion, direct online travel agencies, and I'm actually going to pick one thing that Frank said in the very beginning. Right, it's extremely important. So actually, hoteliers should be considering channel cost, and this is key, because sometimes it's not only about. Sometimes actually, if you are shifting everything to direct, maybe at the end of the day, it's not a game worth to do. It really need to look how much does your direct is costing. So yes, like do something more, just simply focusing on growing your direct. It's also about growing your direct, but not only that. So yes, I mean, every channel has a cost, regardless of whether these are contracted fees or commission fees. So consider the channel cost, and it's one of the things you should be doing now. So another free tip. I mean, especially when looking at the channel mix.
I agree, and I do not agree with you, Soraia. I'm going to tell you why. Because during the pandemic, what we saw is hotels, for the first time ever, we start selling hotels online in 2008, 98, 97, Expedia. 2001, we got Booking, and then we have a lot of them. But during the pandemic, what we saw for leisure, not corporate, it seems that people want to buy directly, and that grows a lot. And you to keep that growing, and not because this will be over in the 6 months or maybe 1 year more. This will pass away. You need to have a loyalty, but in your own, you can have a lot of fields of loyalty on different companies that are helping you, but having a loyalty to keep those passengers that trust in your promotion, directly, is a key to keep that. And okay, I don't see. I stop it. I speak too much. I interrupt too much. I'm so sorry.
The secret, someone said here about balance, and actually balanced diet, and it's the same with channel mix. It's all about the balance. It's not only about direct. It's not only about OTAs. It's not only about the GDS. Not only about the tour operator, or now about the meta search. Meta search are coming. They're coming to stay. I don't think they will take full control over online distribution. So it's all about finding the ideal balance, and the ideal balance maybe for hotel, definitely for one hotel, it's going to be different from the other, depending on whether I don't know, let's say we're talking about São Paulo, or we are talking about Hong Kong, and the urban hotel will definitely have a different business mix than a leisure hotel. So it's really all about the balance, I think.
Yes,
Absolutely. I will.
Total reason, because when I speak about GDS, for example, and GDS have a huge impact on US, Europe, and APAC, and few countries. But if we speak, I know that it's Travel Tech APAC. I'm so sorry, but if we take other countries, maybe if I take South America, for example, and Central America, GDS, it's important, but not that important. GDS can may represent, and Frank want to kill me right now. Sorry, Frank, don't be angry with me. But for other countries, GDS is not so important. But if you have, and you need to maintain a balance, and if you're leisure, not corporate, again, leisure, and if you get the chance for the first time in your life to get 60% direct sales, that is something that is happening, you can keep it. But you need a lot of strategies to make that happen. But if you come to the balance again, but you forget the individual that go to your hotel and buy it, and you have the chance, because COVID is a nightmare for all of us. I lose more than 15 people in my family, for example. However, a lot of people lose a lot of their families. But if you're a hotel, and normally hotels got 2%, 3%, and those that make a good work get 10, 15% direct sales. Right now with the pandemic, they just blow up. They go to 30, 35, 50%, and in geolocalization. So you need to maintain that. You need to do that. Just only my opinion.
Sorry, Vinny, I have a point here to what you're saying. So, direct, of course, is an important channel. And in fact, we also have seen that direct bookings has increased for a lot of our customers as well. But that, I feel, is only true for, the luxury segment or the 4-star, 5-star category. If you look at, the smaller hotels, whether it's independent or, the ones that are like 2 stars, 3 stars, they, of course, are struggling because they do not have the marketing budgets to actually spend on, whether it's advertising or whether utilizing any kind of tools to make their website more visible when travelers are searching for, hotels like them. So again, it comes down to the category of hotel and how much marketing spend they have, because only then will, direct booking make, like, they would get more direct booking. So that's why, again, coming back to Soraya's point, a balanced distribution, whether it's through OTAs or meta search or any other channel for that matter, is very, very important. And we obviously, every hotel would want to increase their direct bookings, but again, that too comes at a cost. So thinking that there is no cost attached to our direct channel is, so we might not be really paying out a commission, whether it's a 20-30% that we might be paying to an OTA today. That's like an invisible cost, right? So what you're paying to OTAs is a visible cost, but what you're spending on your marketing channels, or trying to improve your direct sales becomes kind of an invisible channel, so invisible cost rather. So I think this is a discussion which will be never ending. But Soraia, one point that I wanted to highlight from all the tips that you shared, and that again is something we see with our customers, future bookings, right? When you talk about how hotels need to make their inventory available, not just for the next 365 days, but possibly for the next 2 years, because you do not know when a traveler might be looking at your hotel and trying to book it for, say, a vacation they might be planning 3 months, 6 months down the line. So we ourselves have come across so many hotels who do not really bother to, update their availability and rates for future months. So I just wanted to make that, highlight that particular point, and for all our hotel viewers and attendees today, to take this particular aspect or tip more seriously, and really make yourselves available, because you're losing on the competition. If your competitor hotel is available and you are not, when I am planning my vacation, say, for next year, I mean, nobody does that in today's scenario, I know, but even then,
They do,
Yes,
Neha. We can see that.
because you
We
get a
can
better
look,
rate.
looking at the bookings, we can actually see, and that especially applies for long haul. So there are, especially of course, on refundable rates, but people are booking ahead of time, 1 year ahead of time, because the confidence is returning, and because people really want to travel, and the being conscious that they at least have a booking, even it's not 100% that they will travel, it's already something. I could hear someone saying, I think it was Vinny or Frank, like, people are not traveling just because they can't, but they want to. So if you can at least plan, and actually I'll extend what you said, and abstracting from COVID, I would actually encourage all hoteliers to have open dates, even if they are closed. We had this discussion so many times, of course, during COVID, because hotels, we have a significant amount of hotels, by the way, in Thailand, and Phuket was closed, totally closed. So they closed the hotel, and the first thing that they wanted to do was to close sales, and this led us to encourage them to keep open dates, but it's not a new rhetoric. We were actually already saying the same thing for hotels that are seasonal. So this is a kind of a similar, well, it's not exactly the same situation, but even if you're closed, no matter if it is caused by the outbreak of COVID or because you're a seasonal hotel, just keep open dates. Like, me and Kris or Frank, I think, well, even today, we're based now in Europe. But if we want, for example, to plan now our vacation in Asia or in Latin America, where now the season is actually coming to an end, and hotels which season is closing to an end are closing their sales, how can I plan my holidays if I can't see that hotel available? So again, visibility, and visibility needs to go with the open sales. So don't forget it. It's not only a rhetoric caused by the outbreak of COVID. No matter if your hotel is closed or not, keep sales opening. Otherwise, you might be losing a very interesting piece of revenue because you won't be visible for potential guests.
This is something that has happened. This is something that has happened.
Sorry, Ivan, just 1 second. The only guy that never speaks here is Kris. And Kris comes from Marriott, Hyatt, and used to manage one of the biggest RM in the world. I will let you speak, but I'm afraid when Kris opens his microphone to speak, and then I leave.
No, I'm just listening to a very valuable conversation, and since we all talk about COVID and how that COVID influences the travel industry, maybe it's good to paraphrase Yuval Harari's saying that if AIDS did not kill sex, luckily COVID will not kill travel. It's a paraphrase. It was a little bit different, but the quote is very meaningful. and I hope we'll be back there with some different changes in behaviors and different changes in revenue management techniques and distribution techniques. All we need to be is to be open and creative, and I think it'll go all very well.
Thanks, Kris. And while you're speaking, I just wanted to add on to this and take your views. So we have been talking about how, the hotel products are changing, how technology, behavior patterns are changing. And, but obviously, I want to understand from you, what according to you are the new needs now? I mean, we have all discussed what is happening over, the last year, how we have seen the changes, new technology coming in. What, according to you, is the next thing to come up? So tell us about that.
Okay. Well, first of all, we need to be back free. That's for sure. But I think we have discussed a lot of needs already, like technology, distribution, diversity, and creativity. But I think we need to also elaborate on the short budgets that we've mentioned, because this pandemic has made one very broad change to hotel industry. And I come from the airlines. I was actually raised by the world's favorite airline, as our slogan said. And dealing in airlines with revenue development, you learn one thing very well, which is profitability. Why? Because the margins that a few billion-dollar company had was less than 1%, meaning that the line between profitability and loss was very, very thin. This is why, so for example, you hear stories like one airline reduced one olive from the meals and they saved hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. They actually are true stories, and they are very meaningful stories because they talk about that profitability. And hotels, on the other hand, did not have that problem. In fact, while the airlines were considering one olive, hotels were using food waste terminology. Why? Because the hotels' margins were at 30, 40% levels or even more, and compared that to 1% in the airlines. So when you have years and years of hotels having 30, 40% of margin, the comfort zone got so strong that it was very and barely difficult to get out of. Now, this is one of the major reasons, for example, why revenue management and distribution and the whole data processing in the airlines is more advanced than in the hotel industry, because the airline make one olive mistake and they have a loss. So missing revenue for hotels, missing revenue from price optimization or from ignoring distribution was not really a big deal, because they would still have profits generated. That's why 70% of hotels do not have any sophisticated revenue technologies, still 70%. But because of COVID, everything has changed now. The margins have changed. So during COVID, I remember that olive story, and I commented to my friends, watch how hotelier needs will change now, because the hoteliers are no longer in the comfort zone. And what we thought about was, like, if revenue management is in 30% of hotels, price shoppers are probably in 50% of hotels. Distribution is hopefully in a larger portion of hotels, but still there is the rest of hotels that have not had the ability to have access to the technology before, and I think their needs have changed, whether they realize it or not. Some hotels, like here in Barcelona, still majority of hotels are closed because there's not enough demand for them. So they may not even realize what the real needs come to be, considering the fact that these priorities and these margins have changed. So I think we need to look from that perspective. And what we have tried to do with How's My Rate, and hopefully it will benefit to all of you, is we came up with a very, very price affordable solution for price comparisons. And we are addressing not the hotels that you're servicing today. We're addressing that market that was either comfortable or it was before not able to afford any technology. Because if we address to them, they actually get in control with the price. And once you get in control with the price, you can get in control of distribution so you can enhance it. And so, as I've mentioned in the beginning, we can think about creativity, we can think about diversity and sales mix, distribution mix, but hotels need to also be confident in doing that. And in order to get confidence, you need to have control. So the more there is solutions like to help hotels be in control, those hotels that were not even considering this before, I think this is very important, because soon we will start seeing new hotels coming into distribution, new hotels coming into pricing. Why? Because they will need to do so, because the comfort zone of the high margins have changed. Hopefully by 2025 or whatever the date will be, maybe hopefully sooner, hotels will go back to their typical margins, and I wish they will. But until then, they need to be considering these new needs and these new opportunities that are out there. That was my opinion.
Thank you, Kris. Yes, thank you, Kris. Thank you so much. That was really, insightful. And I love your analogy about airlines. I actually did not know that airlines operate on a 1% margin. That really makes hotels look like playing in so much of profits and money all this while. So any of my fellow speakers here, any comments, any opinion on what Kris has just shared? Anything you want to further highlight or share?
So someone mentioned here about acceleration, and that COVID actually can provoke this acceleration. And I think about acceleration when it comes to hotels being more open to technology. That goes a bit in the direction of what Kris was saying, because controls, it also means that you need to have the right tools in place and the right technology, not necessarily super expensive technology. And I really hope that COVID, at the end of the day, all these unexpected situations, all these black swans, there is a positive. There is always a positive side. There is always a positive side of the medal, and I hope that for our industry, for the hospitality industry, that will be that hotels that have always been slower than other industries when accepting technology, that COVID is driving this change, and that hoteliers will become more and more aware, at least, that technology is there to help them. The technology is more an investment than a cost. This is what I would like to add to what Kris was saying.
Yes. Thank you, Soraia. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, for hoteliers, technology should become a commodity. Some of that technology already is, but there's still a lot of solutions out there, especially around distribution and revenue management, which is not. And this is what we're trying to make it. We're trying to make the data visualization a commodity to everybody, so that they can also explore the privileges of distribution. Those hotels that were not interested in that before pandemic.
So Kris, do I understand what you're trying to say here is basically bringing more of these fragmented, uncategorized hotels into the fold, so that they also have access to tech? But how do you think it's all about the mindset also, right? How do you educate these people, or these hotels for that matter, and make them show the importance of what we are discussing here, of the technology? So curious to know how, you have the last 1 year since you've started How's My Rate, how has it been, and how have you been able to convince this set of hotels?
Well, that is a very good question about education. So I am a revenue management trainer as well. And I used to sell revenue management system, but apparently hotels that were asking for revenue management training were not the hotels that would buy revenue management system, and vice versa. Hotels that would buy revenue management system were not asking for revenue management training. So there was a gap in between these hotels. And when you come to look at it, hotels who are able, can afford, and have the know-how to have some revenue technology with them, feel comfortable and educated enough with it. But the hotels that do not have technology, they feel the need for revenue management. That's why they ask for the trainings, but they are not able to accept the technology. And I think this is not much about the know-how, because that know-how will evolve as they start having practice with it. What they need to have is the ability to access the technology freely and affordably. Technology that is easy, not as complex as the other hotels have, but which is very easy to understand. And I think we humans get very much used to Netflix, Facebooks, Googles, and all that technology without even questioning, what's behind it. Because we have this conversation about artificial intelligence, and hotels are like, this is something like, from space. It is not. Everybody's using artificial intelligence already, but they are not even aware of that. So I think we need to make technology as Facebook for everybody, as Netflix for everybody, to be a commodity. And price was one barrier, but complexity was another barrier, and adaptation of that technology was also a barrier. But if we start to challenge that, we probably will get into those smaller properties, because the need is there, and the conscious of that need is getting bigger and bigger. And like I say, it's driven by lower margins that they experience at the moment.
I love the concept and the analogy from Kris with Netflix.
Absolutely.
Often, not so much with mid or big chains, but with independent properties, it's an issue of like telling people, hey, stand up, look around. When you are in the underground, when you are ordering, the next time that you're ordering food from your phone, realize, or when next time that you decide to watch a series, because actually Netflix doesn't want you to search for a particular series, because they probably won't have it. So they will tell you which one is the next one that you want to watch. And if you like comedies, then the picture will be more into that. Or if you like horror movies, the picture will be more to that. So
exactly.
It's all around us. I know that it can be a long shot, but teletransportation, am I not with you guys now? So these things have happened, and somehow we are unable to kind of get that transition, that those things can also applicable and are already applicable at your workspace. So its adoption is a main problem with regards to education, as you mentioned. And we are surrounded by technology. We grab in APAC, we grab a taxi, or we order an Uber, or all these things that we do every day are completely tech enabled, and all your users are. So it doesn't. The connection shouldn't be that complex to identify that the data sources that you are being feeding from and the solutions that you have to offer need to adapt to those scenarios. So yeah, should we have a video on TikTok? I still don't understand what my kids do on it, but
true.
Yeah, do it, and then measure and optimize based on what you see. We are in an era where there's so many ways for you to learn about your last action in order to prepare for the next action and to do a much more effective scenario as you trial and error. But absolutely agree with you. We are surrounded by that, and it's just wake up and smell the coffee.
And there's one more thing to add on that, Ivan. I absolutely agree. The thing that we need to also consider is the generations. My generation do not understand TikTok, like you said, but my kids are in a completely different world. The brains grow with mobile phones. with all the other technology, and you try to disconnect them, and then you have a problem. So we're naturally having these new people in receptions, reservations, new generations being responsible for distributions and revenue management. But we, as older generations, owners and managers, we don't provide them with technology that they are naturally connected with. So they don't know what to do. You give them Excel, you give them data sheets, and you give them all that, and they're confused. That's not how the world works. You need to have creative visualizations so that they can see either the pictures or the colors, so that they can conclude and they can play with that and have an interaction with the data through visualization, and not really, burying tables of 150 different sheets in one Excel that loads for 30 minutes.
Absolutely, Kris. I think we have a question here from one of our LinkedIn viewers, and this ties into what you've just said. So the person is saying, would you think that the person in charge at the hotel who can initiate the technology into the hotel, do you think a lot depends on that person as well in terms of feeling fear to use softwares, to understand the software while being in a busy schedule? So I think somewhere you've already, explained or answered, depending on, what generation the person is from and how comfortable they feel using a particular technology, or whether they feel or have a fear of software per se. So please go ahead and share your opinion here.
Well, I absolutely agree. If you're talking about all the generations, hotel managers, I understand their fear in technology. I come from technology background, so maybe this seems like normal to me. But if you tell me now, Kris, record a 2-minute video on TikTok of your profile, so that the teenagers can understand well what you're doing, I'd be confused. I wouldn't know how to do that, how to add these all different graphics there, how to add musics and loops. I wouldn't be able to do so. So if this is how hotel managers think about implementing technology to their hotels and the business, considering exactly how you said, busy schedules, risk in investment, this is something that is really scary. But I think there's no way out. I mean, you have to step out of the comfort zone and do it, because all the others will do. I mean, this is the writing on the wall. This is where we're going. But trust me, once you start doing this, it'll become so much easier. Like, video rentals versus Netflix. You become addicted to technology.
I'd say fear is a stopper. It's a natural human stopper before you gonna start any challenge. If your schedule doesn't allow you to optimize your performance, then you should revise your schedule. So it's normal to feel afraid of touching something that you think that works, but when you investigate that this thing is not doing, or there's better ways to achieve somewhere, then you'll have to make the changes. Not making the changes will just not be smart. So
absolutely,
it's normal to fear is a way of finding or to motivate you to get the questions, to get the knowledge, to reduce that fear, and then to go ahead. If we stop at fear, we would never ride a bike, because the first time that you go on a bike, you're scared. I don't remember, but I'm sure I was scared. So eventually, you need to fix those situations in order to go ahead, because otherwise, that fear is going to stop you from being able to sustain your strategies, to be able to improve strategies and workplaces for your staff as well. There's going to be a post-pandemic impact on people going back to offices.
Oh, yeah.
And getting used to workspaces again.
There might be a need for that. Do you need to work on adapting that? Sure, because someone on a traffic jam for 1 hour will start thinking, goodness, there's 2 hours, one to go to work, one to go back home, which I could be working. So there has to be certain level of adaptation.
Spot on, yes.
And fear.
Kris, I see you already
Right
have
on, Ivan.
Absolutely, Ivan. I see you have a compliment from one of our viewers, and they're suggesting you should host a masterclass.
Thank you very much.
I think your analogies are going down very well with the audience here for sure. I am very conscious of the time. I've kept all of you way beyond what we had planned. So on that note, let me just thank all of you here for such valuable insights, for sharing your experience, your knowledge. It was really an awesome opportunity for all of us to be able to hear from you and get your inputs on the distribution challenge and how things are progressing. I would like to now give a minute each to all of you to wrap up, say goodbyes, and then we'll of course wind up the session. So starting with you, Frank, your last parting notes.
Well, thank you for the
audience.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity to contribute. It's fun to have debates about our business in the future and how it all evolves. So appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you all virtually, and good luck for a fast and swift recovery. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you so very much. Ivan.
Well, again, same on what Frank said. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope that with the bits and pieces of what we said, people who were listening had some giveaways, takeaways to be able to apply to their strategies. And thank you also for organizing this and for managing this complex scenario, Neha. So,
thank you, Ivan. Thank you so much. Mohnish.
Thank you everyone here for an insightful presentation today. I would just say that here we are from different companies, but we are here for you today. So we want to make sure that your life is simple and you make money, right? So save time, make money. That's the line for us. Thank you very much, everyone. Be safe and do take care of yourself.
Thank you, Mohnish. Thank you so much. Soraia.
Yes, Mohnish, you're totally right. We're here for the hotels. So I would like to encourage the audience to reach out to any of us if there is such a need. And I would like just to wrap up by saying something, again, not inventing the wheel. There is this thermodynamics law, I think it's called entropy. And it says that things that are not changing over time, they tend to disappear. And I think this is a message for hotels. Keep in motion, keep changing, keep adapting. And that's it. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you to my colleagues for being here today. Thank you, Neha.
Thank you so very much, Soraia. Thank you. Kris.
Well, I don't think there's much to add. So thank you very much, Neha, for managing this session, Vinicius for organizing. Thank you guys, Soraia, Frank, Ivan, and Mohnish. And thank you for all the comments and the questions, and to all the public. I hope it was valuable. Keep safe and be brave.
Thank you so very much, Kris. I would like to again thank all of you for being such lovely panelists today. It was an absolute pleasure to be interacting with you on this forum. I want to especially thank Vinicius, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and to moderate this session today. Please take care of your voice and get well soon. We hope to hear more from you and keep going strong. And of course, a big shout out to all our audience members for joining in and for sharing their comments and thoughts. With that, it's an adios for now, and do tune in at 1 p.m. Hong Kong for the pitch sessions. Today's speakers will include the Hotel Network, Librotech, IOSOL, Infor, RM Hub, Kite, and uCloud Link Group. So we look forward to connecting with you again at 13-hour Hong Kong time. And once again, thank you so very much. It was a pleasure being here, hosting this. Take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.